live? I think we're live. Evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of This Week Unloaded, episode 279. As usual, I am your host, Rich White, and there is a lot to unpack this weekend. I tell you what. Let's see. So far out there on the YouTube side, we've got Pack Rat's Attic watching. Got 3, it says, watching on X and 1 watching on Rumble. So, good evening to everybody out there. Let me see. Let me see if it's actually showing up in my feed this week. Hey, it's showing up in my feed this week. Woohoo! Last few weeks over on Rumble, not Rumble, X, the show hadn't been showing up in the feed. So, yeah, I guess I got that fixed, whatever that problem was. Yeah, nobody's saying anything over there. So, yeah. All right. Yeah, you're the only one on YouTube right now, Pack, right? Yeah. But yeah, it says there's 3 watching on X. I don't know who, because if you don't say anything over there, there's absolutely no way of knowing who's watching. They don't give you a list of viewers or anything. So, yeah, if you're over there on X and you want to be acknowledged, post something. I mean, say hi, whatever. So you know you're out there. But, it says we got 4 watching over on X now. So good evening to whoever just came in. It says 2 on YouTube. All right. So where do we begin with this week? Past few years, a couple of the apologetics channels I watch on YouTube during Ramadan have been calling it the Ramadan Bombathon, because you usually get terrorist groups attacking things during Ramadan, hence the Ramadan Bombathon. This year, there's a slight change to that. We'll get to that here shortly. Real quick, welcome Denny's Plant-Based Journey out there on the YouTube side, and M. Gabriel. So, good evening to you two gentlemen. But yeah, it's an interesting weekend, an interesting change to Ramadan. Like I'm saying, the Ramadan Bombathon is usually terrorists doing the bombing. We done flipped the script this year. Iran, probably the largest, if not one of, if not the largest state funder of terrorism, is getting the crap bombed out of it this weekend. They've already lost 2 Ayatollahs. Ayatollah Khamenei, not to be confused with Khomeini, which I've seen a lot of people doing online. Khomeini died decades ago. There's a lot of people that seem to think that the Ayatollah that was just killed in the bombings yesterday was that guy, and he's not. M. Gaber's like, what's up with that Austin thing? We'll get to that. We'll get to that because they do believe that is connected. Yeah, the Ayatollah Khamenei and the new guy who wasn't in the position long enough to even know what his name was, both having been reported killed. So Yeah, along with the Khamenei's son as well, and I think they said 40 other people in the leadership of Iran have also been killed. Some of them by reportedly by Israeli intelligence that was hiding out in their security forces and assassinated some of them. So yeah, there's that. And then he says Islamic sympathizer supporting Iran is what he saw. Yeah, the guy was talking about the guy in Austin. Yeah, he was a immigrant from Senegal who originally was in the country legally on a visa, overstayed that visa, married an American, was granted a waiver, became a citizen, divorced his first wife, tried bringing over two other wives at one point, and generally a bad guy who, according to a report I saw earlier, was on the uh, terrorist watch list and killed two, injured 14 others, last I saw. And it wasn't just in Austin. There was also another attack up in Toronto carried out by a Muslim as well. But yeah, this guy was a Muslim, had the shirt on. It said "Property of Allah" or something along those lines. Quran in his car, Islamic Iranian flag. There's a difference. There's two different Iranian flags. You got the original Iranian flag, which has the lion on it. Then you have the Islamic regime's flag. He had the Islamic regime flag in his car, I believe it was. So yeah, this guy was definitely a sympathizer of the Islamic regime in Iran. And like I said, last report I saw, he was on the Muslim terror, or not just the Muslim terrorists, but the terrorism watch list. Period. Which make what since he's a citizen, I guess you can't just strip him of without him actually having done anything. But there's also, I was watching a video earlier. I think they said there's 30,000 people in the United States currently that are on the terrorism watch list. So yeah, that's not exactly good. Yeah. Apparently, though, between the two terror attacks, the one in Toronto and the one in uh, Austin, three people were dead. Which also earlier today, CENTCOM put out a list of the casualties on the American side so far, and as of this morning, it may have changed by now, but as of this morning, 3 Americans were killed, 14 were seriously injured, and then a number were give minor injuries, bumps and bruises, and were returned to duty so far. So that's what we're looking at casualty wise for the United States so far. And we've been joined out there on the YouTube side by Vanessa Kitty. So Ian and Vanessa. But yeah, Denny says, yeah, then a lot of their naval ships have been taken out. Yeah. But we haven't been without casualties, including buildings and such. If you look, I don't know if you guys have seen the news, but Iranian drones and rockets have been hitting various installations and stuff. So, which is probably where the three casualties and injuries and the other injuries came from, were the attacks on those installations, and they've also been attacking other places that weren't military targets in various Arabian countries: Dubai, Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia. They've tried hitting Israel, but Israel's anti missile system's working and stopping that. but they have hit some U.S. Military installations over there in I'm trying to remember which countries it was. Bahrain. I believe they hit the naval base in Bahrain. They hit air base in Qatar. So, so yeah, it's uh, it's not been without our share of taking damage, but nowhere near on the level that the Iranians have taken. And people in the streets over there celebrating. You got people here celebrating, but contrastly, you also have people here protesting. What else is new, right? And also had incidents in Pakistan in particular where Pakistanis have attempted to storm two of our consulates. At one of them, Marines opened fire and killed, I think it was 9 people who deserved it because they're being stupid and trying to storm our consulate. And the Marines did their job. You got armed idiots wanting to storm your consulate. You can't let them do that. You got to protect your people and territory. A lot of people don't know this, but embassies and consulates are an extension of the country they belong to. So even though both consulates are in Pakistan, they are U.S. territory inside the borders of Pakistan. They Pakistan has no say over what happens on those consulates. But Pakistani police have been trying to break up those mobs that have been trying to break into the consulate as well. So from footage I saw earlier, so that's something, I guess. Then he says, I thought Hillary was still in charge and would allow that crap. None under this president. Nope, not under this president. And the windows and whatnot are also apparently armored glass because I was watching footage where Pakistani guys had machetes trying to break these windows and they were just barely doing any damage to a window whatsoever. So they learned from Benghazi, that's for sure. Who it was that learned from Benghazi, I would have, I can't speculate on, but somebody learned from Benghazi and put a better armored, protected glass and whatnot in these windows. So they weren't able to break the windows as much as they tried. So yeah, it's a good thing. Gizzard Gary's out there. He said, noticeably, Kim Jong Un has been keeping silent. Yeah, yeah. Sadly, members of this government haven't. The usual suspects have been running their mouths. Oh, this is bad. So, yeah, if you haven't seen Twitter, yeah, people like Rashida Tlaib been running her mouth in that. Know who got killed? Packrat. He said, "I know he got killed. Who did it? You talking about the Ayatollah? I believe the credit for getting the first Ayatollah went to Israel because it's not just the United States that's involved in the bombing attacks. Israel has also been taking part, and Saudi Arabia, because of the attacks, has granted the U.S. and Israel the ability to fly over their airspace. So I believe all our attacks have mostly been via aircraft carrier based aircraft. But yeah, the Israelis have been granted the right to fly over Jordan, Saudi Arabia. Yeah, we took. I already had mentioned that, Gary. We got two Ayatollahs within 24 hours. The other guy wasn't in office long enough to even know what his name is, and they haven't. They have not. There's no word out of Iran if they've appointed a fourth Ayatollah at this point. The second and third were killed in this action. The first one died decades ago. So yeah, they're up to their fourth one if they even have one right now. And some people are speculating that the ongoing military action that has been going on from Iran, based on orders that were given out before, in case something like this should happen. Because, like we were saying earlier, all their like 40 of their highest ranking people besides the Ayatollah were taken out already. So there's none of these guys can possibly be acting out on any current orders. It all has to be something that was given out ahead of time, or they're taking their own initiative to engage in these attacks. Yeah. Then he said they exercised some type of emergency action, putting three people in charge, dividing the power. Wouldn't surprise me. That's how it worked in other Islamic regimes. When you look at the Ottomans, for example, in the early 20th century, there were three guys that were in charge of the Ottoman Empire. Each guy was in charge of a separate section of the empire. As it is right now, I'm thinking that this is all based on the initial attacks that they were probably based on standing orders if they were attacked, what to do. And I think the rest of it's just been probably people taking their own initiative at this point, because their command and control has got to be devastated at this point. There's no way they have a standing uh, communication network, even if they do have anybody from high command in charge. That I'm sure any of that kind of stuff would have been taken out already. As one of the first things you want to do is cut off communications and whatnot. Gary says, so there was a footstool empire? I think the footstool was named for the empire, actually. The Ottomans. Ottama. Where was it? Anyway, you get the idea. Yeah. It's not unusual for that. Of course, they're calling for more gun control. Why wouldn't they? Yeah, Packer said he just was reading an article about the Austin thing, and Democrats are already calling for gun control. It's a day it ends in Y. And Denny's throwing out three names. I'm guessing that's the three people he was talking about that they put in charge right now. Mossad Pezeshkian, Pezeshkian, Ghulam Hussein Mohseni If, who's the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Reza Araft, a cleric and member of the Guardian Council. Gary says he's sure thousands of goats in that area are happier. Yeah. I've also got in Ahmadinejad, if you guys remember him, he was confirmed dead. And the president that came after him as well, whose name I cannot remember off the top of my head right now, so don't ask. They found both of them dead as well. Yeah. What was the? Oops. How do you want to do that? Wrong window. Dang it. Still no comments over on X. Says we got 6 people watching on X right now. All right. There was one. I'm trying to remember what the joke I saw earlier on X was. See if I can find it. It was pretty good. I liked it. But yeah, a lot of people commenting about how the Democrats are and others are not uh, being good right now, shall we say. Let me see. Where is it? Where is it? I know I. This is where I shared this joke earlier. Crap. Oh hell! I mean, I'm looking in the wrong place. That would help. Yeah, that would help if I was looking in the right spot. But it was so long ago. I've shared a lot of stuff since then. It's probably gonna be a long time before I find it. But yeah, come on, where'd it go? Now, there's a stat that I found that somebody was talking about earlier too. That since 2020, that Iran has directly attacked or used proxies to attack U.S. troops in the Middle East 90 plus times. You got people out there saying, "Oh, this isn't America first." Like, how isn't it? Taking that somebody who has sponsored attacks against our people since 1979. This should have been done decades ago, but everybody was still having regrets about Vietnam. Oh, well, I can't find that now. Darn it. I'm trying to find it. Oh, one of the targets the Iranians hit was a Palestinian hospital. So, yeah. And one of their own. Or no, they hit a school. The Iranians hit a school, and of course, everybody started blaming the U.S. right away. It was the U.S. that hit the school. Turns out, nope, it was the Iranians. They actually admitted it that they were the ones that hit their own school. Yeah, Denny says thousands of people in the streets in Iran celebrating. Sounds like it's being set to open arms. Canada came out and supported us, but the Dems went to treat it like it was a bad thing. Yeah, the Pope came out saying, "Oh no, this isn't how you win the hearts and minds of people," and some other nonsense. So, and then you got the British. Oh no, the British Prime Minister. No, you can't do this. This is bad. Yeah. I gotta say, so England is allowing us to use their bases for airstrikes. That's it's funny because, like I said, their prime minister, they must be doing it without the okay of the prime minister. Because Keir Starmer put out a comment lambasting the government, the U.S. government for doing this. Gary says some people are saying that the U.S. wants to put the Senate Shah in power. That's been a ongoing thing for years now. That if something were to happen, the son of the Shah would go into power, at least temporarily, until a larger, more permanent government where the people decided what they wanted to do would go into place. And the most widely kicked around idea has been for it to be a constitutional monarchy, not unlike the UK, with the Shah's family in the figurehead role, and then having parliament and prime minister who actually have the power in the country. That's that's what's been kicked around anyway. I'm still trying to find that joke, but I can't find it. Now, one Democrat that has firmly been in support of the action is that I bet all of you can guess which Democrat's been firmly in support of the action in Iran. It's the one Democrat that people were surprised is still a Democrat at this point. Balkan Rumbles out there on the YouTube side. Dang it. Yeah, I can't find it now. Darn it. It was a good joke, too. I just can't remember what it was. I just can't remember what the joke was. Bingo. Somebody give Denny a cigar. John Fetterman. He's put out multiple posts on X between yesterday and today in support, calling out others for not supporting it. And yeah. Had one guy try arguing with me earlier that this is just going to be another Iraq. Say, how's this going to be another Iraq when Iran is the major problem that was happening with Iraq, with the insurrectionists and stuff being funded by Iran? Iran's not going to be able to do that this time around. Uh, After being droned 8 hours into his term as supreme leader, Ayatollah Arafi, there's the new guy, wins shortest reign ever award from Guinness World Records. Guy didn't even make it a whole day. Made it 8 hours, roughly. Yeah. Packer, I say, surprised they find anybody's. Well, that's the thing. When a bombing, you don't know. The bodies aren't always destroyed by the bomb, a lot, or killed by the bomb itself, but by damage the bomb itself caused, like the building collapsing from not being stable and whatnot. Most, oh, excuse me. Most bombing victims, that's what happens. They're killed by the actual damage to the building, not by the bomb itself. As the building collapses on them and kills them. There's got to be a fairly large bomb to destroy the building and the people that are in the building at the same time without it just the people being killed just by the building toppling from the bomb itself. And if you're standing right where the bomb hits, yeah, you're pretty much going to get vaporized. But other people, most people, the collateral damage around the, shall we say, are going to be killed by the collapse of the building in and of itself, not necessarily a direct result of the explosion, but the after effects of said explosion, as the building or whatever you're, you know. Again, this is mostly dealing this with buildings. I mean, a vehicle, getting hit with a bomb could be a different story. Like if a missile hits a tank, you're gonna be killed. You're gonna be killed by the effects of the direct effects of the bomb that was contained within the missile. Well, not all tank guns fire bombs, though. 'Cause, yeah, there's different effects for different targets, basically. And did I say gizzards coming? Iran is always the problem. Yeah, yeah, I think I did. I think I read that comment already. Danny says too many cowards around the world. We have wimpy leadership in many of the democratic nations. Then he also said they arrested somebody behind the Benghazi attack. Now, what's crazy is I put out a article on X a couple of days on, was it Friday night, about how I had seen reports that military action against Iran was imminent. Less than 8 hours later, yep. So, yeah, crazy weekend. And of course, the Democrats are already throwing, and some quote unquote Republicans are throwing a fit about War Powers Act. So they don't seem to ever get the idea that this is not a violation of the War Powers Act. The president does not need pre approval to take military action like this. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say he does. And the War Powers Act specifically states that he has 48 hours before he has to alert Congress to anything. So there's that. Oh, Gary's over on X. Why is it not showing timestamps? There we go. Now it's showing timestamps. Well, he was over on X anyway. I don't know if he's still there or not. But yeah, they're hooping and hollering about the War Powers Act. Thomas Massie, who hopefully loses re-election in Kentucky, because anytime this administration does anything anymore, he's throwing a temper tantrum, and he's supposed to be on our side. Gizzard says in other news, Megan Rapinoe, oh goody, the soccer dumbass, is in the news again, criticizing the U.S. men's hockey team for being buddies with Trump. Yeah, of course she is. Why wouldn't she? Yes, we'd already discussed that because Ozzy, you're late, but evening to you. Yeah, we not only in Texas, but there was one up in Canada as well. So, and they're both believed to be in response to what's happening in Iran. Packrat says he has a feeling John Fetterman is going to be changing parties soon. I've been saying that, and he hasn't done it yet, but we'll see. Like I've said before, Fetterman is a classic Southwestern PA Democrat. So he might see himself as the last of a dying breed, to be honest. He may not switch parties because of that, but just vote along with the right on occasion, which is what you see out of Southwest PA Democrats before uh, the 2000s, anyway. That's what would happen. Even though Pittsburgh was a blue city, for example, it was a moderate blue city. Reagan won both times in Southwest PA. So, I mean, uh, yeah. Denny says if he switched parties, he probably would not be reelected. I wouldn't say that. Right now, Pennsylvania has one Democrat and one Republican senator. Pennsylvania is a hard state to call which way the wind's blowing, honestly. And mainly because Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, while they can control the state in some ways, it's not an overwhelming majority like you would see in New York or California in the cities I control. There's enough people on the outskirts, and Erie can go either way. There, there's not a for sure grip that Pittsburgh and Philly could just crush the state and say this is going to be the way we want it. One of the cats is being talkative right now. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. Yeah, she's the one that Megan Rapinoe is the one a few years ago when the U.S. soccer team, women's soccer team, was winning everything. She was the loudmouth lesbian that was putting down everything that Trump was doing in his first administration. So, yeah. Yeah, I throw her sexuality in there because she would make a big deal about her sexuality every time she opened her mouth, too. So, yeah, she made it a news thing, not me. That sounds like something Jason Whitlock would do, Gary. Gary's, Gary said Jason Whitlock put her on the YouTube thumbnail and called her the gay Slim Shady. Yeah, some reports the gay Slim Shady might be Slim Shady. Yeah, but anyway, that's a topic for another channel. Gary says she kind of resembles Eminem now. Packer saying the Benghazi arrest happened a couple weeks ago, actually. Okay. I hadn't seen anything about it, so I didn't know. Damn. Excuse me. Of course, Code Pink has put out post on X. This is wrong. You can't be doing this. And Packrat says, I have a cousin. He has a cousin up in Michigan. She is just slamming Trump for a military action. Of course, why not? You got Iranians who escaped to this country celebrating, and you get white liberal women in the suburbs throwing temper tantrums. Jeez. You got feminists, okay, bitching because we took out one of the worst perpetrators of oppression of women on the planet. You can't make this shit up at this point. And the Iranian government has been known to arrest, beat, torture, rape in prison women for not wearing a hijab. In a couple of cases, they trumped up charges against them that resulted in them receiving the death penalty and being hung in the public square. And liberal feminist Karens living in the suburbs think that taking out these sons of bitches is bad. The world's gone crazy, man. The Bible says in the end times, people will call good evil and evil good. We're seeing that firsthand. We are seeing that firsthand right now.
I'm going to need you to calm down a little bit.
You think?
Yeah, your blood pressure's starting to worry me.
No, my blood pressure's fine. It's not the problem. That's not what I'm having issues with. How you doing tonight, Gizzard?
Been sick all day. I've been going between feeling miserable and laying in bed and being pretty good for 2 or 3 hour stretches. So right now I'm on one of those stretches where I feel halfway decent. But
Yeah, I know how that goes.
it's just, either runny nose or a stuffed nose. I got crap going down my throat that I'm having trouble coughing up and just sore, miserable. And like I say, I've been asleep at least 3 times today for about 2 or 3 hour stretches at a time. So
You open up a box or
I'd be
something?
glad to get this crap over with because it's just not fun. I don't get sick very often, but when I do it up good. So.
Yeah, lately you have been.
Well, I've only been sick last 3 or 4 days, but it takes a while.
Well, you had the stomach bug last week.
That was temporary, I think.
Yeah.
That was just a 24-hour thing. Reaction to something I ate, I believe. My digestive system does that sometimes. Still haven't figured out exactly what it is I'm sensitive to, but sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. No, I've been enjoying. Oh, go ahead. You want to say something?
Yeah, you're in your 60s and stuff, you're just glad to be around. You kind of put up with little ailments.
Mm-hmm. We've been
Anyway,
joined
sorry to
on.
interrupt you.
Oh, get done. Did it again.
I did? Oh, oh no.
Oh
Rob
no.
D's out there, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Can't believe you didn't mention it. For crying out
Well,
loud.
somebody kept talking about how sick he was, so I didn't get a chance to.
Well, I'm sorry. Am I not allowed to talk about how sick I am? I thought this was kind of open forum. I think we can talk about bombing the shit out of the Middle East. That's
Yeah, well, that's fun stuff. No. I kid.
X is everybody's talking about it on X. Everybody's pointing.
Oh yeah, that's the talk du jour over on X. That's for darn
Oh
sure.
yeah. There's about 3 different audio discussions going on right now.
Oh, there's more
1,200
than
people
3.
in each one screaming about things. It's fun.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me refresh and see. Yeah, you got Alex Jones going, the older millennial, Isaiah L. Carter.
Does anybody still listen to Alex Jones?
Yeah, people still. He's got
I didn't
20.
realize he
He's got
was still.
210 plus thousand watching him right now.
Guess I didn't realize he still did stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Black
He's
conservative
been
preacher.
on and back so many times it ain't even funny.
Yeah, there's a lot of people over there talking about that right now live, including us. Woohoo! We made the list.
People actually listen to us talk about people. Well, the people on X, we are on live. You are live on X. Some people should be watching this thing.
Yeah,
you would think. Because I verify, I proved that you were live on X. I actually commented out there.
Yeah, I saw.
Because I had trouble going live the last 2 weeks. That's why I've been kind of checking on people to make sure their stuff's going live.
Yeah, there was something going on because last few weeks it wasn't showing up in my profile that we were doing the show like it's supposed to. With tonight it did, so they must be working on whatever their issues were.
I hope so. Doesn't do any good to promote our podcast or whatever you call it if nobody can get to it.
Mm-hmm. Now Rob's out there pitching that you need to eat a good salad. You know, the guy that's always, when he's been on these shows, talking about how he had pizza and steak for dinner.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Rob's talking about Alex Jones. He said he's still got a following. He was proven right on most of his crazy talk. Of course, Candace Owens is crazy. Yes, crazy, and siding with the Ayatollah.
Well, surprise.
Yeah, big surprise there, right? And same with Tucker Carlson too. What the hell?
The Ayatollah is in cahoots with Erica Kirk, probably. There's got to be a tie there somewhere.
Well, remember the Egyptian
plane. She spins things, you know. So.
Yeah, remember the Egyptian planes.
Yeah. I don't know how Candace Owens can say the things she does with a straight face.
I don't know.
People listen to her.
I know. Well, I know how she can do it with a straight face. She's crazy.
I mean, yes, I get it. She's moderately attractive, I guess. But still, that doesn't get you nothing.
Yeah, but if I had to take a guess, I would say that she has borderline personality disorder. It seems like when something doesn't go her way, she lashes out. Do you know the whole reason?
Across the border.
Yeah. Do you know the reason why she became a conservative in the first place?
No.
Because she had been on the left. She was an extreme leftist at one point. And she thought that because she was the darling of the left, she could put up a website that would start doxing people on the right. Well, she found out that the people on the left weren't going to put up with that. And she got mad, and because they all turned their backs on her. And like a couple weeks after the fact, all of a sudden she's Miss Go Trump. I'm a big conservative. So it's not like she doesn't have a history of this. As soon as she thinks somebody's acting against her, turning their back on her, she lashes out, which is one of the signs of borderline personality disorder.
Denny's got a good point too. He says not only that, you have people running 2A channels that believe everything she says, even as wacky as her philosophy is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's pretty much that's a problem with our community.
Yeah.
Microphone switched on me. I had to fix it.
Okay.
That's a problem with this community is, man, we're so split, fragmented.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them are levitating towards the sensational news, the sky is falling stuff, conspiracy theories, because that gets views. I know entire channels that at one time were devoted to firearms education and training.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to mention any names, but I actually met this gentleman last year. That's all I'm going to say. And he has totally, pretty much been in the Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk conspiracy stuff ever since.
I'm not surprised.
And yes, getting tons of subscribers and tons of views. But is it really worth it as a creator to sell your soul? And that's what these people are doing, really, is selling their soul for the sake of popularity. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anybody else's. I'm just saying that if you don't treat situations fairly and actually report on situations fairly, all you're going to get is the fractionated viewership. And yeah, there's channels out there, channels you and I both know. Not going to mention them by name because they may be watching, but lots out there.
Yeah, there's people I usually agree with on X that I've been arguing with. So I'm not surprised.
Anytime you put all your apples on the same cart, you stand a chance of being wrong at least part of the time.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be able to look at situations for what they really are. There's nobody out there that's perfect. I'm sorry.
No. The only person that was ever perfect on this planet was crucified.
That's correct.
That was one of my uncle's words of wisdom. He used to say it all the time. If something went bad or you did something wrong, he'd like, just remember, the only person who was ever perfect on this planet was crucified. It was his way of saying it'll work out. You know what I mean? Everybody makes mistakes.
I'm just saying, as human beings, I think it behooves us all to look at what people say and look at items in the news and see them for what they really are, and not believe what's reported all the time, because it's going to depend on the slant that it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you can't trust the news. Depends on who's putting the news on. And it's all biased.
All right, so
All
oh,
of it.
going all the way back to Walter Cronkite, even though people seem to think that Walter Cronkite wasn't biased, you didn't have anything to measure what Walter Cronkite was saying against. So,
Remember that even in the early days of newspapers were usually always affiliated with a political party.
yes, they were.
That's where their money came from. A lot of times you would have two competing newspapers in a town, one on one side and one on the other.
You'd have some in larger cities like New York or Los Angeles would have 4 or 5 different newspapers. You would have one that was Republican, one that was a Democrat, one that was independent. You'd have one that was a socialist paper, and then one that would be like a Jewish paper. So yeah, they're even larger cities. You had even more, and they all had a bias towards their thing.
And even in this small town I live in, for years and years, our city newspaper was called the Daily Republican. It changed names a few times. They went away from political name for a while and just called it Today. And then they changed it back a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, whatever.
Yeah. In Pittsburgh, when I was a kid, there were 3 papers. You had the Post Gazette, which was the evening paper, or no, the morning paper, which was more left leaning. Then you had the Pittsburgh Press, which was pretty much moderate. And then you had the Tribune Review, which was right leaning.
Sometimes they'd merge.
Yeah, the press went out of business because there was a strike, and the strike killed them. So then, when I was in high school, we ended up with only having the 2 papers: the Post Gazette and the Tribune Review.
News is reported by people, written by people, spoken by people. People almost always are slightly biased one way or the other. It's the nature of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to form our opinions based on the people around us, and we tend to associate with like people. It's human nature.
Mm-hmm. So you're gonna.
Now, some news agencies, people are some less biased than others. Yes, obviously. But are any of them totally holier than thou? No.
There's the New York Times.
I don't read much from the Times because you have to pay to read their articles anymore. So,
The Washington Times is fairly. We know more. We know better.
yeah.
And by the way, DC, three papers of record. Really, I'm talking about the city papers. You got the Washington Times, the Washington Examiner, and the Washington Post.
Now, people used to say, well, follow the BBC because they're a foreign agency. They don't have a bias.
Oh
That's
yes,
not
they
true
do.
anymore.
I don't think that ever wasn't true. But you got the Washington Post, which is obviously the left paper in DC as far as the local papers. There's no question
Yeah.
about that. The Times centrist, used to be right leaning. They've been leaning more to the left lately. And then the Examiner is the right leaning paper. Then of course you have like the Hill and Politico and all those that also have offices, but they're more of a national paper.
How about Wall Street Journal?
They've been leaning left lately. They used to be center right. They're more center left now. Yeah, Candace used to work for Ben Shapiro. Then she got fired.
Then there's the Christian Science Monitor, if you really want the Christian Scientist viewpoint on things.
Yeah, go get your cult news, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They actually do have some interesting stories in there occasionally. My one teacher used to get that one in 7th or 8th grade because in Pittsburgh we had one, 5th period you had lunch, and then part of the period, because it was the longest period of the day, we would have silent reading time at the beginning of 5th period. Then you would do classwork and go to lunch, or you'd have silent reading and then go to lunch and then come back and do your classwork, depending on what lunch period you had, right? Which lunch section you were. And she would get the Christian Science Monitor and put it in the back with the other silent reading materials that she would bring in, because you could bring in your own thing you wanted to read, or you could read whatever was supplied by whatever teacher you had during that period. And there occasionally would be some interesting stuff in there. A lot of it was just their baloney, but you would occasionally get a good science story in there about something that was being developed or something. That, of course, it still had their spin on it, but they had good information on it before they would go into whatever their take on the situation was. You know what I mean? They gave you a good rundown on it. Basically, they told a story, then they had an op-ed. Their stories were split into 2 parts.
Right.
I always read just the story about it part and ignored their op-ed part of it. Yeah, she used to work for Turning Point too before she worked for Ben Shapiro. Talking about Candace
Yes.
Owens. Yeah.
Yes, she did. Not for very long.
No, not for very long. But she claims that she was Charlie Kirk's best friend. Meanwhile, Charlie Kirk hadn't texted her in almost a year.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
She'd be crazy.
But there's some speculation from some people that she thought she was going to get to take over Turning Point for some reason. But she's connected to the British House of Lords. Her husband is the son of a member of the British House of Lords, her father-in-law. A lot of people speculate that she's saying what she's saying because she's funded by her father-in-law, so she doesn't have to worry about the monetary side of things. Because
You know what they say, follow the money.
mm-hmm.
There's always a money trail somewhere.
Yep. Yeah, then he says her stuff comes off as jealousy at times. Yeah, that goes back to what I was saying about the borderline personality disorder. That's another sign of it. Her anger at the people she thinks betrayed her, whether they did or not. And then, like you said, her jealousy because she didn't get to do what she thought she should get to do. It leads strongly to pointing to that possibly being with narcissistic tendencies, I might add.
The problem is she's very convincing in her style.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she is so
Whoa, you broke up real bad there.
Sorry, I walked in the other room. I said to some she sounds believable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to the conspiracy theory crowd, he's going to sound very believable because they're always. We're talking about not people who see a conspiracy theory and they believe it because it sounds. I'm talking about the people that believe everything is a conspiracy, right?
Right.
That no matter what, that nothing that you are being told could possibly be true. Those people are going to fall for her shtick. It's just generally the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, I just had to mute myself because,
Uh,
well, I have to cough
uh,
sometimes. I don't want you guys to have to hear that stuff.
oh,
So
okay.
if I go silent for a second or two, I
Okay.
probably didn't die.
Okay. We'll take your word for it. We'll take your word that you're not a zombie.
What's in your head?
I don't know. Where's Ron Waynack? I give him the
I thought you
Star
said
Trek
Ron White
Starfleet
for a
Academy.
second.
No, we gotta give Ron the Star Trek Starfleet Academy update for the week. Can't do
Haven't
that if
seen
he's not here.
him.
No.
He may be video gaming. He plays video games with DeBerg sometimes on the weekend.
Hmm.
Yeah, him and Misty are both gamers. These young kids, you know how they are.
Hmm.
Not that I don't own a game console, I do, but I don't spend a lot of time on it. Not yet, anyway.
I don't
Um,
really touch the console anymore. I mostly PC game.
I ease into it. It's not anything I want to spend the majority of my time doing. Not
Then he
that
says,
that. Mhm.
what were you gonna say?
I'm just gonna say, not that that makes you a bad person if you like to do that. It's just not me.
Hmm.
There was plenty of times in my life where I would be online gaming from the time I got home from work until bedtime, but that was a long time ago.
Hmm.
That's before I had a social media life and stuff like that.
Again, Denny out there said conspiracy wacko like Johnny B. Uh, he's out there, all right.
He's a different one,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
once again, he's out there trying to get views, and that's the game those guys are playing now.
Hmm.
And more power to them. I mean, that's their bailiwick. If that's what you want to do, I mean, obviously the formula works. Uh, got lots of subscribers, lots of views, are making an income off this stuff. Well, good for them.
I haven't seen anything from him and I don't know how long.
I just got to where I don't watch his daily stuff. Not that it's horrible, but it's pretty repetitive and pretty predictable. And if I want to catch the latest in memes, I can probably see them before they're on his YouTube. All you got to do is go out there on Twitter. And I'm not going to tell you, you and I are perfect. I'm not going to, far
No.
be it. But I am not making a bundle off this. So obviously, I'm not playing anybody's game that's paying me anything. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I wish the whole Israeli $7,000 a post thing was true. They owe me a bundle from over on X. Good Lord.
Yeah, if I have an opinion on something, it's probably going to be my opinion. And I kind of call things as I see them.
Hmm.
Like one of my friends asked me because I had a gun channel. It's like, oh, well, you're into all this MAGA stuff. And I said, well, don't put a label on me. I said, that's not fair. I said, yes, I voted Republican in the election, all that good stuff. And more or less, I support our president and his policies. But has he done things from time to time that are questionable? Absolutely. And we have to, we as Americans need to assess everything that happens and not be too reactionary, but realize that nobody in the office is infallible,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. And the problem is, this is my opinion on this. The problem is when you elect leaders, which we have over the last few terms, 70, 75, 80-year-old leaders of state, and expect sharp decisions out of these people. You've already got people who are past their prime. But who wins elections? Not the best candidate, the most popular candidate.
Mm-hmm.
It's who can get the votes, who can get the money. That's who gets the offices. Remember that.
Yeah. Oh,
And no candidate, I think, and truly believe that most of the people who went to the polls couldn't have believed either one of those two candidates were the greatest thing since sliced
mm-hmm.
bread. Come on.
Looks
You
like
haven't really you haven't had a selection like that in years, or have you
no,
ever?
no. Pack Rat looks like he might be behind. He's talking about stuff we were talking about 10 minutes ago. So,
It's possible. He's down there. He's down there in South Texas.
yeah, he's
Not too far away from all the goings on in Austin, just
yeah,
less than an hour away from there.
yeah, he's in San Antonio.
Yes.
Denny's down there in Texas too.
Yeah, but he's off in the far reaches of Texas.
Yeah, Texas is a big place.
It is. It is very big.
He says that is 100% truth. He's coming up on 60 and can tell he's not as quick as the answers, struggling with things that used to be super easy. Can't imagine 20 years from now I'm trying to run a nation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's things that I should be able to just spell it off left, right, and center, and that I'll get hung up on. It's like, damn it, what's the word I'm looking for?
Mm-hmm. Or you run into an old friend somewhere out in public, and you have to rack your mind for 3 or 4 minutes to remember what their name was.
Well, I've never been the greatest with names to begin with. If it's somebody I talk to all the time, that's not a problem. But if it, like you said, if it's somebody you only see sporadically, I'll forget their damn name.
Well, when I worked at the nuclear plant, of course, we had a staff of around 1,000 people. Now, they weren't all out there at one time, but over time, you would interact with most of these people. But there were some you didn't see very often, and I would see their face and I'd instantly recognize them. But it's like, what was your name again? It was great, though, is everybody wore a badge around their neck, and you could kind of accidentally steal a look at their badge. Oh, how are you, Tom? Can't do that with people in public. It doesn't work that way.
Patrick's asking, how is it now? I don't know. Can you hear my comment live? Comment out there and we can find out. But yeah, you were talking about the newspaper stuff, and we had stopped talking about that like 10 minutes ago. So that's what made me think that you may have been behind.
If your current pack rat, type Rich was wrong in the chat right now.
We didn't
Then
say
we'll know.
anything. No, don't even go
Oh,
there.
no, 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 no,
Barbecue's
come
not
on.
here. We ain't doing that.
It's the only way to know for sure.
Mm-hmm. And Danny said names are tough. Parts and equipment that he has to purchase. He don't roll off his tongue anymore. He has to look up stuff. Yeah, it's like I used to be able to just spout off Bible verses and stuff, and now I gotta look it up. It's like, uh,
He's only about 60 seconds behind. That's good. Okay.
that could be a delay too.
Right. It could be.
That could just be the delay.
Close enough. Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. But yeah,
Close enough for a town this size.
like the other day, I was trying to remember there's a season verse, from Ecclesiastes. I couldn't remember what chapter it was. It's like I should know
Well,
this.
I don't know the chapter and verse number. I can pretty much quote the passage, but
Yeah, well, I know what chapter and verse it is now because I looked it up the other day. It's Ecclesiastes 3:1 through 19, I believe. But
to everything there is a season and a time and a purpose unto heaven.
mhm.
Believe it or not, the Birds made a song out of that.
Well, they recorded it. They didn't write it. It was. See, this is one I should know that I'm forgetting to go right in with the topic. But yeah, there was a singer songwriter who wrote the song. He was a leftist pastor too, if I remember correctly.
Pete Seeger wrote the
Yes,
song.
yes, that's his name.
Contemporary of Bob Dylan's, as I recall.
Mm-hmm. He wrote it as a Vietnam protest song. But until you get to the end of the song, you would never know it. Because it's pretty much just Ecclesiastes 3 with turn, turn, turn thrown in there every so often.
Kind of like Born in the USA that people play at
Mm-hmm.
all these patriotic events. It's like you realize
Mm-hmm.
that
That's
song's really not very patriotic.
yeah. No, it's not. It's about a guy blaming the country for every bad thing that ever happened to him.
Although it was Springsteen, so I mean, consider the source here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, American Woman? Yeah, evident. Yeah, 100% not.
Mm, I don't know. Did you see Professor Rock's interview with Guess Who about the song?
I did.
No, he says in the song that they didn't actually have any malice towards the U.S. in the song. It was just stuff that rhymed. It's how they rhymed it. They weren't actually.
Actually, the whole song resulted because I believe Randy Bachman broke a string on his guitar and had to replace it in a mid set. And then he was trying to tune his guitar, so he was playing this riff,
Mm,
trying to get his guitar tuned. And everybody said, "That's cool. Let's make a song out of that."
yeah, but I don't need no war machines. I don't need your ghetto scenes. They were just rhyming. That's what they came up with a rhyme.
And they didn't write it down. It was all done ad lib. And afterwards, everybody said, you ought to record that. And it's like, but we don't even remember what we said. Luckily, somebody at the concert had made a bootleg cassette of it and gave it to the band, and they were able to use that to get the lyrics back because, yeah, they couldn't even remember what was said.
Yep.
And yes, his name is Bachman, by the way. Everybody pronounces it Bachman, but it's Bachman.
Mm-hmm. That's because most of the people that do have that name pronounce it Bachman. Like in Pittsburgh, when I was a kid, the evening news anchor's name was Hank Bachman, and he spelt it the exact same way. And then you had Bachman Pretzel Company, which I don't know if they were a national or a local thing, but we used to get them in Pittsburgh. They were little boxes of the little stick pretzels. That was what they specialized in. Everybody had those in their lunches when you had to pack lunches. They were cheap.
Mr. Bob coming in with the lyrics quotes. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And the story behind No Sugar Tonight, that's really funny.
I don't think I saw that
You
one.
remember that one?
I know the
They
song, but I
were,
don't think I saw the episode.
I believe they were in downtown LA or San Francisco or something like that. And they let them out in front of some shop and they were getting ready to go in there. And there was this guy out on the street that was, you know, kind of being a street guy or whatever. And this woman gets out of this car and walks up and starts hitting him with her purse or something like that, you know. And so, what are you doing out here? You need to get yourself home. And the band was just like falling all over themselves watching this woman beat this great big old guy up with her purse. And as she was getting him in the car, she said, "No sugar tonight for you." And they said, "Well, we got to make a song about this."
Yeah, that had to have been something to witness. uh, I think my favorite episodes were the interviews he did with Alan Parsons. You talked about the Beatles, Pink Floyd, Alan Parsons project with him. That guy got some stories.
He did some good interviews with Neil Sedaka too, who just recently passed.
I don't know if I saw those ones either.
Yeah, check out Professor of Rock on YouTube. He's got some great interviews out there.
Mm-hmm. And with all kinds of different people from different rock genres. He's got interviews with oh shit, I can think of
Oh, the ones he did with Ann Wilson are great.
yeah, the one he did with what's his face from Judas Priest.
Rob Halford.
Yeah, he did a couple interviews with Halford.
Halford is actually well spoken.
Mm-hmm. I guess he's very intelligent.
People tend to think, you know, rock and roll stars are just goofballs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Not. It's just a role they play.
Brian May's got 2 doctorates.
Brian May is a fantastic individual
Mm-hmm.
to listen to. He can tell stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that man's got 2 doctorates in engineering fields, no less. I mean, not something simple. He's got hardcore doctorates. He's a literal rocket scientist.
Kind
Yeah.
of like Tom Scholes, who was an MIT graduate, I believe.
Well, Dolph Lundgren, the actor Dolph Lundgren, he's got serious engineering degrees too. I forget if he's just got master's or doctorate, but
Tom Scholes wrote and mastered just about all of Boston's songs by himself in his basement with equipment he built.
Mr. Bob saying he always liked "Wouldn't Want to Be Like You" by Alan Parsons, a tasty little deep cut. That's not a deep cut. That was released as a single. That was one of their first singles that they actually released. That's one of the ones he talks about in the one on Professor Rock. That's one of the
Yeah,
songs he
Alan
talks about.
Parsons goes back a lot of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he started out working at Abbey Road Studios for the Beatles as a gopher. Worked his way up to sound engineer and producer. Packrat says Springsteen looks like a dried up prune anymore. Well, he is old.
Well, he's like 70, 75. Yeah, he's.
Yeah.
I remember they were interviewing him talking about that Dancing in the Dark video where he danced on stage with it Courtney Cox, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he said the funny thing about that is, he said, when we got her up on stage, he said, "You don't realize this, but I can't dance." He said, "Those are about the only two moves I have."
It's hard to dance when you're holding a guitar anyway.
Well, yeah.
I don't know if I cannot remember if I've ever seen that video, to be honest. I know about it. I don't know if I don't remember ever actually seeing it, except for little clips of it.
It's basically a concert cut, and then at the end, he basically gets a woman out of the audience and they dance together on stage for
Yeah,
about 30
that's the
seconds.
clip I know. I don't think I've ever seen any more of that video. I know the song because I had the Born in the USA album. My parents bought it for me for some reason.
Yeah, Denny's got that right. It's like, at least back in my day, we didn't pick performers we liked based on their political views. Like, we enjoy the music. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
sing and dance, monkey. That's all we really want out of you.
Right?
I don't really care what kind of car you drive, how you voted, or any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't like the Doors because they were a super right wing band because they weren't. I like the Doors because I like Jim Morrison singing and I like the lyrics. On some of their songs are crazy poetic if you break them down. Some of them, like Roadhouse Blues, are just good old rock song.
Well, a lot of it was blues set to a rock beat.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's what all rock in the early days was blues based.
I mean, very much so if you listen to old Doors stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what was so good about it. It's like it wasn't complicated.
Mm-hmm. Most of your early rock bands started out as blues bands. I mean, if you listen to the Beatles when Paul McCartney or John Lennon in old interviews with them, and Ringo and George, they started out as a blues band, and then they decided, hey, let's try this rock thing, you know, because but over in England, they were at the time you had Elvis and Chubby Checker and trying to think, Little Richard and oh, you know, all
Well,
those guys.
they didn't make songs like "She Loves You" and "Please Please Me" because that's the kind of music they liked. That's what kids wanted.
Right.
That's what sold in the States, especially.
Yeah. About the time they were getting in, we were over here in the U.S. You had those guys I just mentioned going up the charts. Over in the UK, they were just getting the previous blues band stuff. They were getting like Buddy Guy and whatnot, and
Now, if
listening to
you
that
look at
stuff.
the Beatles, by the time Rubber Soul came along and they started basically getting enough clout that they could put whatever they wanted to on their albums, then
Mm-hmm.
they started branching out and experimenting.
Yep.
And then you started getting some of the really good stuff. And yeah, they threw some commercial stuff on there because
Mm-hmm.
the label made them. But,
Yeah. But if you look at the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the
yeah, the
Yardbirds,
Stones, even, yeah.
the Stones took their name from a blues song. Those British bands were all heavily into the blues because that's what they were getting at the time when they were, like I said, when Elvis and Chubby Checker and all them were coming up in the U.S. Bill Haley, uh, Buddy Holly, all those guys. Well, they're coming up in the U.S. Over in the UK, they're just then getting into the blues scene that preceded Elvis and then all those guys that were basing their stuff in the blues, right?
Ram Jam, Black Betty, old blues
Mm-hmm.
song. Even, which song is it from Steve Miller? The Big Jet Airliner, I believe,
Mm.
is actually borrowed from somebody from back in the 50s.
That wouldn't surprise me. But look at Cream. Eric Clapton, Ginger Baker, and Jack Bruce, heavily blues inspired. If you go into their deep cuts, they were covering blues songs. They did oh, Robert Johnson's Crossroads, which was the song that people thought Robert Johnson sold his soul because he thought the song was a confession to him selling his soul to the devil.
Billy Joel definitely knew what the blues was.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Piano Man's a blues song, no doubt. Yeah.
Elvis grew up, well, he grew up singing in a black church, singing
Mm-hmm.
choir in a black church. So there's an awful lot of gospel in his background.
Yeah.
Uh, but yes, that's the area he lived in, and the music he grew up listening to was a
Mm-hmm.
heavy influence on stuff he did
Yeah.
later on.
And even getting into heavy metal music, you get Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath was heavily influenced by blues.
Oh yeah,
Again, a British band, another British band, heavily influenced by the blues. Led Zeppelin, heavily influenced by the blues. Deep Purple, heavily influenced by the blues. And I guess with Deep Purple, you can also throw Rainbow in there. Two sides of the same coin.
yeah.
And even into the 80s, into thrash metal. And if you listen to Metallica or Megadeth, you can definitely hear blues inspiration in their playing. Speaking of music, there's
Blues,
Stephen Sheets.
blues is basically the inspiration for rock and roll, or
Mm-hmm.
what originated from what was at one time called R&B, rhythm and blues,
Yeah.
which was the foundation of rock and roll. I
Uh,
mean, white rock bands didn't invent the electric guitar. That was done by blues musicians long before.
oh yeah. Bo Diddley used to build his own guitar.
Oh
He
yeah,
didn't buy guitars; he built them.
yeah. Rock and roll is basically imitating art. It's not. It wasn't just hey, let's do this brand new stuff. No, just
Mm-hmm.
refined art. Steven Sheets is out there.
Yeah, I said that already.
The Stephen Sheets,
Yeah, I said, speaking of music, there's Stephen Sheets. Weren't you paying attention?
Mr. Music himself.
Yeah. He's asking if I remember when I was a guest on his live stream. Yes, and we did the duet of "The Devil Went Down to Georgia."
Yeah, that's 100 years ago.
And that was a while ago.
Maybe not 100.
No, not quite that long, but it's been a couple of years for sure.
Well, we've been around, you and I. We've been around this YouTube universe not quite 10 years, but it's closer than you think.
Yeah, just shy of.
Yeah. Stevie Ray Vaughan, 100%.
Oh yeah,
Taken way too soon. Oh my gosh.
I saw him live, man. That was one I was trying to remember last week. Remember last week I couldn't remember what the other damn concert I went to was. It was Stevie Ray Vaughan.
For
He
that
played
matter, Edgar Winter,
yeah.
whose brother was basically a blues musician. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Was it Edgar and Johnny?
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, saw Stevie Ray Vaughan. He when he played Little Wing, the rest of the band went off stage to take their break, and it was just him, his guitar, and a stole in the middle of the stage. Beautiful, beautiful guitar work.
I mean, if you listen to Frankenstein, it's basically just a 10-minute long jam session.
Mm-hmm.
And he pretty much admits that. That's what it was.
Then he also brought up B.B. King.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Bob brings up Rory Gallagher.
Let's not forget some of the gals out there.
Billie Holiday.
Some of the OGs, Ella Fitzgerald.
Yeah. Well, she was jazz.
Yeah.
She
did a little everything.
Yeah.
I remember her. I mean, I'm old enough to remember her when she was still alive.
She was still alive when I was younger.
Aretha Franklin. That was soul, but
yeah.
And she could sing her butt off.
You ever hear her sing gospel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the voices people had back then. Ooh.
Now, Steven wants us to go on one of his Tuesday or Thursday shows. That's going to be tough for the foreseeable future, Steven. Maybe someday, but not anytime soon. I'm sorry. I'm not going to have a chance to do it anytime soon, but in the future, it's always a possibility, brother.
Yeah, we could try to work something out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
One of these days.
Rick Derringer was in Edgar Winter's group. You're absolutely right about that, Mr. Bob.
Not that there aren't good musicians out there now. I don't want to be the old fogey who says, there aren't any good musicians out there anymore. Popular music has changed. Yes. What plays on the radio now and stuff like that. Yeah. It's not the music we grew up with. I'm pretty sure our folks said the same thing, and they would have been right too. Yeah. It changes with time.
Go ahead.
That's all I was saying. Go ahead.
You ever hear this guy Youngblood who's out right now?
No.
Look him up on YouTube. He's got where he's doing collaborations with all these older bands. Pretty good. He does a little bit of everything. Hard rock, pop, and all kinds of stuff. It's interesting. Like he did a tribute to Ozzy, and he had Steven Tyler and Joe Perry and a bunch of other people in it. But yeah, he's He's got his latest album. He's got a song with Smashing Pumpkins, and yeah, he's
Yeah.
pretty good.
And he's got a good point. Not only did some of the greats in the past have great voices, you have to remember they didn't have all the electronics doing effects, pitch correction, cleaning up tone, and so much more.
No,
Nope. You got
nope.
what you got.
That was done on an old soundboard where you had a bunch of little sliders that you had to do that were all um,
And
not
depending on the band and the
analog.
artist, it might take several takes in the studio to get it
Mm-hmm.
just perfect.
Yep. Yeah, Denny's heard
In
of Youngblood.
concerts, yeah, sometimes concerts you get what you get. Player had a cold that night, might not be so great, but you dealt with it because it was real. You didn't expect to come to a concert and hear the studio recording. If you
Yeah.
did, then you weren't being true to your art. So,
But yeah, Denny's heard of Youngblood. He said, yeah, him and Steven Tyler is great stuff.
Steven Tyler's old, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, Aerosmith started in the 60s. They didn't make it big until the 70s, but they started in the 60s.
Russia's got a new drummer. Have you heard her?
No.
Oh, she's fantastic. And those are quite
Big
the
shoes.
shoes to fill.
Yeah.
Neil Peart, come on, man.
Yeah. Those are some big
One
shoes
of
to
the greatest
fill.
drummers of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you need to look up Youngblood. I'm trying to remember how he spells. He doesn't spell it. I think he spells young normally, but blood, I think he spells Blud. But yeah, he's good. He doesn't have a band per se. He just does a lot of collaboration work and stuff, and uses session musicians for his own original stuff.
Is he English?
Yeah, he's a British guy.
I found him. Okay. There's a Wikipedia article on the guy. Okay, there's the
He's a
YouTube
really good
channel.
musician.
I'm going to subscribe to that channel. Let's see. I
Yeah,
can
he's from
find it.
England, Denny.
Oh, that's YouTube music. I don't want that. Okay, I'm subscribed.
Denny said, yeah, it'd be tough to feel old Neil's shoes, but what a gig. That is an amazing opportunity. Mm-hmm.
Well, the rest of the band decided they wanted to tour, so
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't get Michael Portnoy. Everybody else does. The former drummer from Dream Theater. He subbed for a bunch of people when things have happened to their drummers.
have you ever heard that 10-minute drum solo of Neil Peart's? It's on YouTube.
The one from 2112.
Probably. He's in a circle with drums all around him. He
Mm-hmm.
just goes plumb friggin' nuts.
There's a lot of the drummers that do that anymore. They'll have the drums
It's
all around them.
great.
Yeah.
But who was said to be one of the greatest drummers ever back in the day
Oh
was,
yeah.
believe it or not, Karen Carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
She went head on one time with John Bonham, if I recall.
Mm-hmm. All the good drummers die young. Bonham, Moon, etc., etc. And usually they're their own folly.
People used to really rag on Ringo Starr, but from what I've heard, according to his peers, he's considered a very good drummer.
Yes, he is. It's just going back to, like you were saying, they were limited in what they were allowed to do when they first started. So Ringo was basically just a, he didn't really get to show on the albums what he could actually do.
Well, Denny, we haven't seen your work. You need to put some of your work on YouTube. We'll
Yeah,
evaluate it.
yeah. How do we need? How
Rich
we
and
do
I do
that?
a reaction. We'll do a reaction video. How about that? I have a music reaction channel I haven't contributed to in a year or so.
My
That'd be
son's
fun.
my son's a good drummer. He just doesn't do anything with it.
I got tired of doing music reactions because of all the copyright claims you had to deal with.
Hmm. He just sits up in his room drumming along the songs he's listening to, and
If
he
I ever
keeps up.
do go back, if I ever do go back to doing it, I'm gonna try reacting to some lesser known artists that are trying to make it that
Hmm.
won't have big record deals.
Hmm. Yeah, then he basically out there calling Ringo a human metronome. Yeah. By the time the Beatles got to where Ringo could have showed off his chops and talent, they stopped touring.
Yeah,
But yeah, I've seen Ringo Starr All Star Band on different things on TV and whatnot, and he would do a drum solo, and the guy is good, extremely underrated because people just never really got a chance to hear him do his thing.
they just approved this program talks just about anything.
Hmm.
Look where we started, and look how we got here somehow.
Yeah, I have
And
no idea. I have no idea how we transitioned from a war to how good a drummer Ringo Starr is, but yeah,
no subject is off limits.
as I say, you never know what we're going to talk about.
Uh-oh, Danny's going to bed.
Yeah, have a
Good night,
night, Danny.
Danny.
He seems to think he's going to win another chicken sandwich from you.
He was right last week.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he thinks, if he just paves the road here on this. I mean, it worked last time, so it's going to look awfully suspect if he wins again this week.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I have no control over that giveaway tool. A lot of people think I do, but no, it picks who
No,
it picks.
Nope, I've used it. You have no control.
No.
The only thing you can do is put in whatever has to be typed for somebody to win. You don't have to put anything. You can just have somebody they just show up and be in the chat and win.
Speaking of chicken, 2 Live Moves out there.
Yeah. He says he wants chicken.
Yeah, me too. I haven't eaten any meat today. I'm not hungry anymore.
We had biscuits and sausage gravy for dinner.
I made a pot of vegetable soup. I had a bowl of that right before I came on here. I'm just not hungry now. I figured being sick that a pot of soup sounded like a good deal. So
Mm-hmm.
Packrat says I probably will win another knife this week. Man, there's confidence out there.
Uh-huh. I don't know. I'm due. I haven't won anything in how long. Mainly because Amy wouldn't let me goddamn log into YouTube and claim the knife I won off of Ron Wayne on his Christmas giveaway. Don't you dare! Don't you dare get on YouTube!
It's funny.
That was a $70 knife he was giving away that night. Damn it!
What are you giving away tonight?
I ain't giving away anything.
What's your bracket going to be about?
I ain't got one of them either because barbecue never sent it.
No giveaway, no bracket. Wow. No Gorn?
I mean, if somebody wants to send a picture, the email's right there in the crawler. Rich at unloadedmedia.us. We've shown pictures on here before that people have sent in. I just don't
Yeah,
have a.
Packrat caught me. I'm a couple weeks behind on my mailing, so I need to get stuff out in the mail this week. I apologize for that. I've been lazy.
Yeah, but right there,
That's all there is to say about it.
Yep, right there, right now in the crawler, there's the email. If y'all want to send anything in, there's where to send it.
Yeah, there's also a PayPal link too. Are you wanting people to give you money?
It's their choice if they do or not. I don't got enough
Has anybody ever sent you?
memberships yet. Has anybody ever sent? Yeah.
Oh wow.
I'm not gonna name names, but yeah, people. I have had
Well,
a
it wasn't
couple
me.
people send stuff. No, it wasn't you.
Not that I dislike you or anything. It's just I don't normally just hop on people's PayPals and send them money unless they're my kids.
Mm-hmm. I set that up when Patreon started their nonsense as an alternative.
Are you still on Patreon at
No,
all?
no, I'm not that I know of anyway. I haven't
A
looked
lot
at
of people
Patreon in
still
forever.
use it.
Yeah, they do.
One of my friends, I'm not going to mention any names, one of my friends is just now getting off of Patreon. And a lot of the people, a lot of times, some of us YouTube channels would be members of each other's channels and
Mm-hmm.
basically just to trade a dollar back and forth. And a lot of people are realizing, we're just giving YouTube money when we do this.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of that's going away. So,
I need 55 more subscribers before I can get memberships.
George is in my lap now. I guess he woke up from his nap.
I was going to try Subscribe Star, but they don't pay you out until you get over $150 worth of.
Yeah,
That's
there's
never.
Subscribe Store. What the one? Buy Me a Coffee or something like that.
Hmm.
Mm. Locals. I've been on Locals for 2 or 3 years and never had it. Of course, I don't promote it, but it's out there. I don't really expect anybody to contribute to it. It's basically there so if people wanted to gift me money on Rumble, I'd have a place for it to go.
Hmm.
But it's never happened. It's probably never going to happen. So
I've never actually set up my locals account. I have one. I just never set it up for anything.
I set it up and I posted to it a time or two, and it's been sitting there ever since. Kind of inactive because, well, with 45 subscribers on Rumble, there's not a whole lot of point to me being active there. There's just not a lot of traffic there.
Hmm.
I just got to be honest. For the longest time, I could say that about X, but I've taken some steps to remedy that a little bit, and I am pretty close to 1,200 followers on X now. So
Yeah. I don't know where I'm at. 27 something,
you
I think.
kind of got to engage with the community there.
Hmm.
They don't they don't pay a lot of attention to people who are very seldom active. So you kind of got to be active over there to get much
Yeah.
of a following.
Where am I at? Oh, I'm at 2,800. Okay.
Well, I shouted you out over there, so you should maybe have an extra one or two.
Yeah.
I basically
And
everybody that I knew of that was a channel member of mine, I put a link to their channel out there, and
yeah. I returned the favor.
I was amazed there were so many. Yes, you did. I appreciate that because you're a bigger channel than me. But at one time, I was using X basically to put Amazon links and stuff like that. Never really amounted to squat,
Hmm.
so I kind of stopped that entirely. And I'm gonna treat that as an independent platform. It's more or less quote unquote gonna be a fun place for me to hang out.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll get a few channel followers over there because I do stream over there too. So never know.
Yeah, you never know. I
Hmm.
wasn't expecting to have that many followers over there.
Boo's got some inappropriate vacation pictures from the sandbar that he can share.
Mm,
If you want them public, dude,
how inappropriate are we talking?
are we going to get taken off YouTube for them? Let's put it that way. Will they violate the terms of service? Gary has seen a cut. Yes, I have.
Considering some of the shit that's on X, if you go down that rabbit hole, we wouldn't be taken off the air over there. I'll tell you that much.
Well, there's a little bit of everything on X.
Hmm.
Some people get away with bloody murder over there.
Oh, Christ. There's channels over there that have hardcore porn on their channels.
Yes, 100%.
Hmm. It's like, isn't this supposed to be against the rules? I think nudity is allowed, but hardcore porn isn't supposed to be. But you'd be surprised how many damn
Especially,
channels have.
especially the overseas ones for some reason.
Hmm.
But you know when somebody's following you from X and you look on their profile and there's either a link tree link on their profile or a an OnlyFans link or something like,
Yeah.
ow. There's so
Only
many of them
fans,
out on X that
family.
are just fishing
Mm-hmm.
for, or
Mm-hmm.
webcams. They're just
Yep.
chicks that are fishing for weird dudes. They're all over them.
Yeah, I have like 0 followers and 1,000 follows.
Mm-hmm. I've had a few of them. When they follow me on X, they'll go and send me a direct message right away. And it's like, you're gone.
I don't even bother with the direct messages. I don't even look at them. Unless it's somebody I've been following for a while.
Well, it'd be different if it's somebody I knew, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not looking for that kind of engagement.
No. I don't need nobody trying to sell me Bitcoin or any horse shit like that.
Oh, that's all over the place too.
Mm-hmm.
Or people who claim to be MAGA and all this stuff, and then you look in their profile, it's like it's based in Africa. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
really? Mm-hmm. Sure you are.
Well, there's always a possibility that it is, because there are a couple of people I follow that have the MAGA thing, and they follow me too, but they're like traveling nurses and stuff. So one of them actually does work with an organization in Africa, so she actually is legitimate. You know what I mean? But most
Oh
of them,
yeah.
no.
Africa, Indonesia. See it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Nigeria is the big one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This person's in Nigeria. Uh-huh.
Let me guess, you have a check that's like $500 million that I can cash, but all I got to do is pay $10,000 to the bank for the right to cash his check. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
sure, why not?
Sure, buddy.
A rich uncle of mine in Nigeria died.
Yeah.
Moo's got to go back to work tomorrow. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Son started his vacation today. He's off till next Sunday.
I remember work. Now I have to go back better than 3 years to remember what it was like. You believe I've been retired for over 3 years now? Seems like it was just yesterday.
It's been over a decade since I had a job.
I've had people from work run into him every once in a while downtown and say, "Well, you miss it?" And I'm like, "No." So that's what everybody says. I'm like, "Yeah, no, I had my time. I had my fun."
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, that can't feel too good, Bob.
that just sounds painful.
Hmm.
Oh. Knee replacements. Ew.
Mm. See, they all just talking about the dang surgeries they gotta have. Wednesday, I gotta go see the general surgeon for pre-colonoscopy. You know, that whole deal you gotta go through before you have that done. And then
That's fun.
Thursday, yeah, Thursday gotta go to Pittsburgh and get poked and prodded by a doctor for a VA evaluation. Mr. Bob says he's going bionic bit by bit. You should talk to Vanessa Kitty if you want to talk about being bionic. Her right arm is mostly titanium. Was her right? Her right arm?
I can't remember, tell you the truth.
I think
I
it's her
know
right.
she's hit by a couple different cars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I've had worse than a colonoscopy, believe me.
You ain't lived till
Carbs.
you've had a prostate exam.
I've had that too.
Now they pretty much do it all with blood work, but there was a few times. Well, just bend over.
Mm-hmm. What do you want? Hmm? You want to say hi?
Meow.
Yeah, she's getting a little bigger, but she hasn't gotten much bigger. She's still tiny. Yeah.
Need
You
to
want to say
feed
hi?
that cat.
Oh yeah, she eats. She's a piggy. She's just gonna be a tiny little cat. That's all. Moose says he's scheduling surgery to remove a weird lump on his head, on his neck. Might just be your head. Or you might be growing a second one.
Well, you know, Everybody in the audience is getting old when you got all these people talking about their ailments.
Moo's growing a
It's what
sick
my
kid.
mom. It's what mom used to say. She said that's what happens when old people get together. Is they talk about their operations and their
Mm-hmm.
ailments. It's like, boy, it's absolutely true. They do.
Moo's going to turn into the man with two brains. You got two people watching on X now. I mean, not X, Rumble. Counter still says 9 on X. I don't know. I don't know how accurate that is, but
Yeah, that's
6
what
on
it
YouTube.
says here too. But it says +8, Unload Media +8. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Bob says, "Pain, the great uniter."
Well, that's the one thing about it. We've all made it this far anyway, so you know good and well. Once you get to be of a certain age, if you've made it, you've experienced a few things, and it's good to have something to complain about because it means you're still here.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Um,
yeah, I've been through this and that with my body, but bottom line is, I'm glad to be here. I've had to make a lot of changes in my life because of it, but I'm still, I'm still doing it. So,
yeah. But Moo, if it's like the guy from Running Man, you're going to have another whole other person growing out of you, not
yeah.
just the head. Yeah, there was a time where they didn't know if I was going to make it out of my teens, for Christ's sake, or even
Could you
make it to my
imagine
teens.
being around long enough to hear Jacob S. talking about old age? That'd be funny. He's just a young buck.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been in these chats ever since he was in his, I think, late teens or early 20s. I remember he first came onto my show and he was really green.
There was that one handicapped kid. Can't remember his name now. His real name. He's still doing stuff on YouTube. I still keep getting notifications. Mr. Happy's live.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
When the
Yeah. Is
Kingpin
it,
used to promote his channel all the time.
was it Josh? I can't remember what his
Yeah, that's what it
name
was. Josh
was.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he works and stuff. Like he had a girlfriend for a while, I think. Yeah, he still does his streams. He's changed his screen name I don't know how many times now.
No, he's been Mr. Happy for the longest time. He just has a subtitle he puts on it.
Ovaltine. Wow. I haven't had Ovaltine in ages.
Whoa. He was like, "Oh yeah, I remember that guy." Yep.
He came on my show a few times.
Yeah. He used to go, "Can I join?" To everybody's shows. He was on Scotsman show. I think he was on here once or twice.
Where's that Guns and Barbecue guy at?
I don't
He
know.
quit doing YouTube or what?
He probably fell asleep somewhere. He can't seem to stay awake anymore.
Yeah, and he's not even old.
I don't know. Ah, my headphones fell off.
That's not good.
She went and curled up and pulled my headphones off.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but you can't hear her snoring anymore. She outgrew that.
Actor James Woods calls Donald Trump the greatest president of his lifetime. Wow.
Yes, he's done that. Yes, he has. Always posting something like that on X.
That's what I'm doing. I'm looking on trending news on X.
Mm.
Why does it keep recommending Candace Owens to me?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
I don't really want to follow her.
What the hell I want to follow that bitch for?
Dave Portnoy either.
Mm-hmm.
He's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Why is it recommending Code Pink? I don't want to. Yeah. No, absolutely not. Yeah, nobody in the recommendeds I really care about. Yeah. Bill Maher, yeah, that's what I want to follow. I want to follow Bill Maher.
He's not as far out there as he used to be.
No, he's not.
He's gotten old and he's figured out some stuff.
Well, a lot of it was that he got pissed off because he got ridiculed back in the day and when he lost his ABC show because of speaking out against the Iraq War and stuff, and that pushed him over the edge because never was that far out before that. It was after he lost his show on the ABC that he what was it, Politically Incorrect. When he lost that show, that's when he started going crazy. Or was that the ABC show or was that the HBO show? Shit, I don't
I think
remember.
that's HBO.
Yeah, because he had the ABC show before that, and I don't remember what the name of it was. Politically Incorrect was the HBO show. There was the what the hell was the other one? Pack Rat's taking off. He says he's got to go to the DMV tomorrow.
Dang, everybody's leaving.
One of these days,
Mr. Bob's still out there.
One of these days, I got to make it to the sheriff's office and renew my concealed carry permit. I can carry in other states.
Yeah, I don't have to do that for another 2 years.
Well, mine expires on the 15th, so I got to get it done.
I think ours lasts for 5 years here. I've renewed it twice already. Time sneaks up on you, though.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, the NFL. Yeah, I want to follow. Should follow the NFL. No. I gotta give Belmar a follow just for shits and giggles. Let's see what old Bill's saying on X, if anything. No, Politically Incorrect was the show on ABC. Real Time with Bill Maher's the one that's on HBO.
If you want to follow somebody who's freaky, follow Keith Olbermann sometime.
Oh, God, no.
Keith Olbermann is nuts.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I know. I used to get his shit showing up randomly on my X feed all the time. Haven't seen shit from him lately. Yeah.
Could follow Mr. Beast. Why? I'm not real sure.
I don't know.
But it suggests to me that and Libs of TikTok.
I'm shocked. Well, Bill doesn't have anything about the Iran situation. Not for sure he would, especially since he doesn't like Islam very much. Uh, Nothing. Radio silence from Bill Maher on the Iran situation.
Oh man, I'm rate limited. I can't follow anybody else. Darn it.
You see all this talk about what the president is going to propose to Congress? That was my editorial Friday. Congress is supposed to propose laws. The executive branch is supposed to execute, like a Venezuelan drug boat. Sometimes Bill Maher can have his moments.
Yeah.
I remember what. Remember we were trying to figure out what the other sled sport was in the Olympics.
Yeah.
You got the luge and you got the skeleton.
Yeah.
That's what the other one is. And they're both crazy because in both cases you got to go down a bobsled run on a sled. One's head first, one's laying on your back going feet first.
Yeah. Head first on your belly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Going down like a bullet.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yep. I'd be damned if I'm doing that.
But there's this one gal that was on the American team, I think. She had a lot of followers on social media because, well, let's just say her backside jiggled quite a bit when she went down the ice. I forget her name. Is that the one?
What are we looking at here?
Did you watch any of the Olympic coverage?
Live? No.
One of the people that NBC was featuring as a commentator during the Olympics was Snoop Dogg.
Oh,
This is
goodness.
interesting.
I can't stand him. I literally cannot stand him. He's got Bill Maher's got that new show on HBO too, the one where he sits with one person, they get drunk and high the whole show.
Hmm.
Forget the name of that one. Wonder if you see a clip on that on his channel. Club Random, that's what it is. Yeah, they basically sit around drinking and smoking pot. Well, some of the guests do. He does. Not all of them, but Maher does. He's a pothead and a half. He always
Wow.
was, though. He always was a
So,
pothead. If you look at his
so
old.
is Snoop as far as that goes.
Mm-hmm.
At least Snoop don't make no bones about it, though.
Oh, Maher doesn't either. He used to talk about all the time in his stand-up comedy. He used, Bill Maher used to be one hell of a funny stand-up comedian. Who says sounds like a Rogan show?
There's lots of stand-up comics that used to be funny before they took themselves too seriously and started getting into politics.
Mm-hmm. George Carlin never got into politics. He's like, what the hell do you want to know what I want to vote for? So I'm not going to vote for anything. See, because then I can look at you guys and say, this is all your fault.
Mm-hmm.
I used to love watching George Carlin, whether he was on an HBO special or on Johnny Carson or whatever he would show up on. Heck, even as Mr. Conductor, he was kind of funny on Shiny Time Station when my kids were little. It says, rest in peace, Carlin, comedic genius. And not just in your opinion, buddy. In a lot of people's opinion. He's one of the GOATs. George Carlin can make a roller coaster accident involving a bunch of mentally retarded kids hilarious. I mean, that guy was one of the GOATs. I remember right, he hosted the first Saturday Night Live, didn't he?
Yeah, matter of fact.
Yeah.
I had to mute myself to make sure it wasn't me making those noises. It's not me.
No, she just started snoring a little bit. She still snores a little, but not as loud as what she used to.
Oh, Mr. Bob just experienced something I've been experiencing for years here in Kansas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same here. Said they just got it in Missouri. Yeah, for those of you on X or Rumble, Mr. Bob lives in Missouri, and he got to use his concealed carry permit to avoid getting the NICS check for the first time.
That's the way it should be.
Mm-hmm. Who says that's the way it used to be in Michigan? There's a lot of things that used to be in Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan used to be a Christian state. They got Congress people from that state mourning the Ayatollah Khomeini. Not Khomeini, Khomeini. One letter difference in their name. One letter difference.
We'll be nice and not call it South Ontario. So how the Pirates going to be this year?
Damned
They
if
got
I
a
know.
winner coming.
Damned if I know.
They got the
Uh,
same owner, right?
Yeah.
They ain't gonna
I was
win
going to say,
shit.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say no.
Wish he could be like the Angels owner. I guess he made a statement this last week that Angels fans don't prioritize winning. Like, that's a heck of a thing to say about your fan base.
Is it their job to prioritize winning or yours? Mr. Bob said there was a
First, you got
time.
to spend some. You got to spend some money. Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Bob said there was a time Missouri had a law requiring a permit to purchase a firearm. Had to go to the local sheriff for a cursory background check before going through NICS. Wow.
Yeah, Missouri's come a long ways.
Mm-hmm.
And they have marijuana over there. We don't have that.
Now we got it here. Lou said they used to have to go in front of the gun board for a CCW in every renewal. Not anymore, so that's good. Never had to do that. Not in PA or West Virginia. Never had to do what Mr. Bob was saying either. Lou said he's seen 2 people get arrested at the gun board review. Wow.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of arrested, did you see where Ilhan Omar's guest for the State of the Union got arrested right after?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That was kind of funny. I'm guessing Ron Wayne's not going to show up out there, so should I do the Star Trek Starfleet Academy update without him?
Sure.
All right. So where did we leave off with this show?
I don't know.
Well, I hadn't watched a review for the episode from the week before yet when I did last week's show. Who says one dude was a convicted felon, the other was a domestic violence offender. Yeah. So last week was basically they went to this one dude. The whole show centered around this one dude supposed to get married, but the one dude that's supposed to get married is gay for the Klingon guy, so he tries getting out of the wedding and everything. Eventually, he gets out of the wedding, gives up being his inheritance to being the king of the planet that he's from, and goes back to Starfleet Academy. That's about all that happened in that episode. This week's episode deals with the episode that happened 2 weeks ago. The Betazoid that turned into Black Canary, if you remember, and killed all the bad guy cannibal things that were trying to eat the students, makes her return to the show with a new thingy in her neck to regulate her powers. But she originally wasn't a member of Starfleet Academy. She was a member of the War College. So they transfer her over to Starfleet Academy so she could have trauma counseling, because apparently the War College doesn't have trauma counseling, but Starfleet Academy does. Figure that out.
Wow.
And everybody treats her like a pariah for saving them. They showed a clip on the one review I watched of when she's entering after she beams onto the ship, and where Starfleet Academy is being housed for some reason on a ship. I don't know why, but and everybody's just giving her the dirtiest of looks as she's walking across the bridge of this ship. It made absolutely no sense whatsoever. But yeah, so and then that cut to the heads of the Starfleet Academy meeting, discussing what they're going to do because the trauma counseling that they're getting for the kids aren't going to work, blah, 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 blah. So they get a character from the most annoying character, from my understanding, from Discovery, which I don't know how the hell she would still be alive since Discovery was way back in the past, to come on board. Now, at this point in time, it's important to look at one YouTube channel, Little Platoon, description of Starfleet Academy. He said that Starfleet Academy is Star Trek for theater kids. Remember this. Starfleet Academy is Star Trek for theater kids. That's important because they bring this character, the most annoying character from Discovery, this big fat redheaded chick. Because again, Starfleet apparently has no regulations on weight anymore, even back in the past on Discovery. And she's not a counselor either, just for the record. But she's going to be the counselor for the students. What's her counseling that she's going to do for these kids in Starfleet? Training to be, Starfleet theater.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Remember back to the quote I just said from Little Platoon?
Mm-hmm.
Starfleet Academy has literally become theater kids Star Trek. With one episode. The play that they're going to look at, because they're not going to perform the play, they're just going to analyze it. Our Town.
Wow.
That play survived to 1,000 years in the future? Really? Remember, Starfleet Academy takes place 1,000 years in our future. Are they really going to have a play from, the 1930s?
Nothing significant was written in the last 1,000 years.
Right? Oh, it gets better. The one who picked the play they're going to look at, the fat, black, retarded hologram student. Not the one that swallowed her calmly, because she hasn't been seen in weeks on the show, apparently. No, the hologram gets to pick what play. But yeah, that's so they analyze this play and everything, blah 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 blah. Nothing really comes of that. But what does happen is apparently the aforementioned black hologram did take damage from the phasers that went right through her because she's a hologram. Because she, a hologram, mind you, collapses in the middle of they're analyzing the play. And is said to be dying. She's a computer program. Computer programs don't die. They fail. They catch viruses. They don't die. But anyway, they can't figure out how to save her. So she's going to die. And then somebody comes up with the brilliant idea to take her back to the planet she's from, which is a bunch of other holograms living there, non-organics, as they call them. The only problem is non-organics aren't allowed to go there. So they come up with the bright idea, let's have the Doctor do it. And for those of you who haven't been keeping up, the Doctor is the Doctor from Voyager, the hologram Doctor from Voyager. So him and the idiot in charge of Starfleet Academy, played by Holly Hunter, by the way, in case anybody was wondering, get on the shuttlecraft to take the hologram to the planet that she's from. This hologram has absolutely no projector that shows her. She just is there somehow. And if anybody knows how holograms work, they don't just get to walk around. There has to be something creating the hologram. But of course, that doesn't stop the Doctor anymore either, because he doesn't seem to have his little device that he had in Voyager that allowed him to walk around everywhere. And they forget the bit about organics not being allowed to go to this planet. The Chancellor of Starfleet Academy is a organic. But anyway, they take the hologram there, and the fact that the Chancellor of Starfleet Academy is a organic has absolutely no bearing on these people. They don't care, apparently. Even though their planet bans organics, they have no cares that this woman is isn't inorganic, that she is an organic creature. So they let the Doctor and her beam down or land on the planet or whatever with the hologram. And they're going through, it's like, nope, she's going to terminate. And you're like, you're going to let her die? You're like, no, we just don't know how to fix her. So you're thinking, yes, we finally get rid of this character, right? No. The Doctor comes up with the bright idea. I know how to fix her. He couldn't figure this out on this ship, but he can figure this out here on this planet. We need to have me be her father and have her go through her childhood all over again, which she never had in the first place. See, this character, the hologram girl, is only 4 months old, and she's been 17 the whole time she's been 4 months old. Now, the time goes really fast on this planet with the inorganics. For some reason, it's like 2,000 years for every human year or some bullshit. So the Doctor and her stay on this planet for a week, which in their timeline is supposed to be like 17 years or some horseshit again. And yay, everything's fine with the retarded black chick who is actually a hologram. Curses. Finally could have got rid of her, but no. And that's about all that happened this week. Took them an hour and 20 minutes for all of that nothing to happen.
It doesn't make me want to go watch your shit.
No, not at all. That's why I watch the reviews, because the reviews are funny. The reviews make fun of it. Mr. Bob asked, do they crash? No, sadly, no. That would have been character development. No, these characters who were happy the week before are sad because of what happened 2 weeks ago this week. The characters regressed. They didn't progress. They regressed. There's no character progression on that show whatsoever, apparently. Except for Holly Hunter. She started wearing shoes. That's always good for a Starfleet higher up to be doing, is wearing fucking shoes with your uniform. And of course, the Klingon guy was wearing his skirt again in this episode. No, it's not a kilt, in case anybody's wondering. No, it's a skirt. It matches his uniform top perfectly. But he wasn't in the episode that much because apparently he got a cold and was confined to quarters. You trying to tell me 1,000 years in the future, Starfleet can't cure a cold? Of course, this is the same Starfleet that 1,000 years can't heal spinal injuries or fix people's eyes to where they don't need to wear glasses or have ocular implants so that people can hear, things that they're developing now. Because we have seen people wearing glasses on that show. A deaf Betazoid. And multiple people in wheelchairs. Oh, at the end of this episode this week, apparently Islam's still a thing too, because there was a chick running around on the bridge of the ship with a hijab on.
Wow.
Hey. Remember, Star Trek 2, what was McCoy's line? That God was a myth? Right? You remember that, right? Star Trek 2? Where they're talking about Genesis and McCoy says, according to myth. But yet Islam's still a thing on Starfleet Academy. So, yeah. If you watch that show, I think you're going to lose IQ points every week. I feel sorry for the people that are reviewing it. But there's hope, maybe. Maybe we'll get lucky and Paramount will buy out the contract of the idiot that's writing this shit and cancel it before they get into season 2, which is already in the can, just in post-production. So yes, there is going to be a second season of this shit. No, we haven't gotten to the
actually
season
watching
finale.
this crap.
I'm not. No. They said I watch the reviews for it. I don't watch the show itself. The reviews are probably a lot funnier. But there are people that are watching this for their YouTube channels, and you can go out there and watch. Critical Drinker watches it. Nerdrotic watches it. Desperoux's out there watching it. The aforementioned Little Platoon's watching it. Yeah. And all of their reviews for the show are absolutely hilarious. For different reasons. Desperoux's is the longest. He does the longest reviews of it because he does a review almost as long as the episode he's reviewing. But he breaks down every little thing. Whereas Nerdrotic, Critical Drinker, and Little Platoon just like summarizes. Theirs are usually around 20, 25 minutes long, their reviews. Desperoux goes a whole hour on his reviews. But still hilarious. anyway, that's your Starfleet Academy update for this week. Hopefully Ron Wayne watches this in replay so that he can be face palming rather when he's at work tomorrow, because he said he listens while he's working sometimes. So. Or was that Chris that said he listens while he's working? Well, either way, I know Ron said he'll watch the replay if he doesn't catch it live. And same with Chris, being Chris from 740, in case anybody's wondering. But yeah. And on that note, I think we'll wrap this show up because we're coming up on 3 hours. Anything you want to plug or say before we get out of here?
Well, assuming I'm well enough to do it, I've got a show tomorrow night, Foul Territory, 9 o'clock p.m. Mondays on the Gizzard Gary channel. So, yeah, thanks for having me.
Yep, no problem. Thank everybody who watched. Somehow we still have 3 out there on the YouTubes. I think we chased most of them off talking about Starfleet Academy because there were like 6 or 7. Start talking about Starfleet Academy, and most of them like, oh no, I don't want to hear about this stupid shit. But anyway, it still says 9 on X. Again, I don't know if that counter is counting how many people viewed it in total or if that's how many people are currently viewing. Because X does things differently when it comes to counting views over there. So anyway, have a good night, folks. And we will catch y'all next week. And, well, tomorrow. For those of you who watch Gizzard's show, we'll see it tomorrow night. But, yeah. But if you don't, we'll catch you next week. Have a good night, everybody.